We are
Yes,
finished.
fine.
And
How
you?
about you?
I'm also doing well. Before I move on, let me see. So on our WhatsApp platform for the evening, there are over 170 people. I'm thinking that is a combined class of accounting and also business admin. Is that not the case on the WhatsApp platform?
Yes, sir.
But when we meet, the number is not even up to is it 70 or so. The largest number we have recorded, the thing was around 50 something or so. So where are the others? Or it's not the group is not dedicated to project management, but other people are on, other classes are on. Is that the case?
No, sir. It's for project management.
So people on the page are supposed to be members of the class. Is that not it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. The next thing is that are you done with the add and drop?
I think we are still on it, sir.
When is it ending? The add and drop period?
So please, I don't know.
It's
I think it's
Sunday.
Sunday for the weekend students, right? Or for all students?
It's for all students.
All students.
All students, okay. Okay, I'm asking this because I just want to have a fair idea of the number of people who might have registered for the program. I need to go to usage to see those who duly registered for the program. Because if you on the WhatsApp platform, we are over 170 something, and very few of you attend class, I should be worried because it means a lot of people don't come for class. And like I told you from the beginning, the course is not difficult, but if you fail to come to class, then in the main exams, you go and write something thinking that you have written something. Okay, so it's important you come to class and listen to the discussion ongoing, and then know how to plan your learning as far as the project management is concerned. Okay. Today we have also the regular student, the morning student joining us. So I just want to be sure if any of them have joined us, because they had a program, and I think I was even told that the program wasn't for core students, but it was organized by the accounting. So it was specifically for final year accounting students. But student as you are, gave me the impression that it's for all final year students, and therefore we had to reschedule our class. Do I have somebody from morning joining us? Because I asked them to join.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Was the program meant for accounting only or for all final year students?
Accounting only.
Accounting only.
It was for accounting only. But if I share with you the message I got from you students, that the thing was for all final year students. Anyway, so what we're going to do is that, and you see, a lot of the morning students are also not here. Only few are here. But as a matter of fact, once I pass the message across that the class has been rescheduled, there's no way I would go back and teach what I'm going to teach today again in your class. That one, you can be rest assured. If they fail to come,
Oh,
It's their own. So those of you on the morning stream, you can put information on the platform that the lesson has started. So whoever wants to join can join. Okay. Let me also mention that the evening group, they are ahead of the morning. So this topic is just a step ahead of what you are supposed to do. So let's go through this. Next week, when we meet in your regular class, then we will treat the topic before this one so that you can all be at par with each other. Okay. So that is just for your information. But you know the lesson before this one doesn't have a direct link with this one. So you should be able to comprehend and understand whatever we're going to do for today. Is that clear?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Yes. Is it a question? Okay. Good. Any questions so far on what we have done, project management, since we started from week 1 up to this week? If you have started reading, I mean, are there issues that you think I need to explain, or I just want to use the first 5 minutes to attempt those issues before I move on? Are there issues? Any question, anything bothering your mind, or anything clarification you want to seek? Yes. Any question, anything you want to clarify so far based on what we have done? Okay, good.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sir, please, when I was reading, I came across something as I came across this. It says project is the cornerstone of corporate strategy. If you can elaborate on that for me.
So what did you read about? What did you read? It's that statement doesn't stand on its own. It builds it. It's a statement that is building up. So what did you read from before till you got to saying that project is the cornerstone for do you understand? Where did you read? Do you mean by the slides? Do you mean the slides or the book?
I think it was a book. It was a book.
Yes, yes. So if it's a book, then you shouldn't struggle to appreciate what this means. So, Michael, I would ask you to go back, okay, and
Yes,
read from somewhere, because it's building up a case, okay, until you read from there to this where it's saying that project is the cornerstone for organizational strategy or something. You wouldn't, if you single out that point alone, you won't be able to understand. Okay. So let me push you a little bit further. Go and read again. Next week, if you read and you still have any issue, you can drop me a message, or you can wait when we meet next week. I would explain that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
But I'll be fine if you can drop me a personal message or something, and then we can discuss that.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Any other question? Hello. Okay, good. So today we want to move on. We are looking at project scope management. I have two main topics to finish today. Two different slides. So this one, a very short one, we should finish this in the next 30 minutes and then move on to the next one. Okay. So we have project scope management. Let me explain this so that it would set the basis and then help me to move the other slides, move on with the other slides very quickly. You have heard me since we began the course using the word project scope, project scope, project scope. What is project scope? Project scope basically defines everything that the project entails, everything that the project entails, i.e., the work content or the actual work to be performed in the project, and also the project objectives. So together, the details of the work to be performed or all the work to be required to be performed project, okay, as well as the objective of the project together defines what we call the project scope. So we say that a project has a narrow scope. A project has a narrow scope when in fact there are very limited number of activities or work content to be carried out. Okay. And we say that a project has a wider scope when in fact the project
emotionally unavailable right now. Yeah.
When the project has a lot of activities to be performed.
Yeah. Serious relationship love for us.
So we say that a project has a wider scope when there are a lot of activities to be completed within that project, okay? And the objective of the project is also a bit complex, or if I say complex, what I mean is that it is broad, has so many specific objectives, okay? So that is what you have to know, that the scope of a project defines everything that the project entails, including the work content and the objective to be achieved. Now, let me give you this example. Let me ask you this question. I said some time ago that organizing a birthday, for example, can be a project. Okay, organizing a birthday party for someone or can be a project. Now, also building, if you want, a highway, okay, a highway is also a project. Now, these two projects, how are they different from each other? And how are they similar to each other? Do you understand my question? A small project like organizing a birthday party, one, and another project like building an airport, airport construction in a new region or something. These two projects, how are they different from each other? And how are they similar to each other? That's the question.
I was saying,
yes.
I think they differ in terms of time, but the similarity is going to use the same scope to accomplish it.
So, okay. Thank you for your contribution, but probably when you came, we had explained what scope meant. Okay, good. Yes, any other? Can you please change, if you have only your index number, can you change to your name or you add your name to it? Okay. Yes, any other?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Let me also try. We'll say that building an airport will be a wider, a project that has a wider scope. And also a birthday party is one that have a small scope. But for the similarity, I would say that they are all projects.
Yes, they are all projects that we know already, and I said it in the explanation. So what is the similarity? Yes, they have Michael. So you are saying that they have different scope. Okay, they have different scope. Can you explain why they have the different scope? or what makes them have different scope?
Okay, so for the airports, a lot of activity has to go on. They have to start. They do planning. They have to start the building before they have to bring the equipment and stuff. So a lot of things go into the airport. But for the birthday party, even though they do planning, but a lot of things does not go into the birthday party.
If you say a lot of things, what do you mean? I've done this for the past almost 5-6 weeks. So you see, you are not wrong, but
Hello,
you are
sir.
not using the language. If you say a lot of things, so this is how you write for me in the final exam. So a lot of things doesn't go in and so on. And thinking that you have written for me. Yes, Josephine.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Yes, just in here. So I think building an airport and the similarities between the two is that for the airport, it contains a wider scope in the sense that with the airport, a lot of planning needs to be done, which involves acquiring a lot of resources. And with the birthday, it doesn't really require a lot of planning. So,
Are you sure? The birthday doesn't require a lot of planning.
yes, because it's not something that is really, really necessary. Like, let me put it that
Are
way.
you sure? Okay, Josephine, good. Thank you for. I mean, I understand. For me, based on my background, I know where you are going. I mean, I know. I could infer from the things you are saying what you mean. Okay. However, you are the same as Michael. You are also not using the right. I just explained these things. Yes. Kwesi, Sandra, hold on. Sandra, hold on. Let me pick Kwesi. He has raised his hand.
I think with the airport construction, it's going to affect a lot of people, making it a wider scope. But with the birthday, it's going to affect a smaller group of people.
Okay, Kwesi, hold on. So when we say a project has a wider scope, what does it mean?
So please, can I?
Yes, Sandra.
And so when we say it has a wider scope, it takes like the activities involved will take long, like it has a long period.
Not only long, not in terms of schedule, not time per se, but there are activities involved. Okay. Yes, Ernest.
Okay, sir. So for me, I think the construction of an airport require facilities. But for the birthday, it's just an event that will happen once and like till another year. So my difference is an airport.
Airport. The difference is airport.
The difference between the airport and the construction of birthday party is the birthday party just a ceremony, like an event just coming to pass. But the airport entails a lot. You're going to build facilities. That's my difference.
Yeah, so what is it that entails a lot? When we say it entails a lot, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean it involves building structures using materials like the cement, the road, and others. Using the
Okay. Ebenezer.
Okay, so if we are talking about the airport, like you need larger quantities of resources. to finish with that project. But with the birthday, I think you don't need that large amount of resources to just plan a birthday.
Okay, so,
Hello, sir.
so I'm coming. Hold on. Yes, just a minute. I explained initially that the difference is the scope, and somebody explained that the first person who talked also emphasized that the airport would have a wider scope than the birthday party. Now, my question is, let me rephrase the question so that it probably would help. What does it mean to have a wider scope? When we say a project has a wider scope, what does it mean? Okay. And when you say a project has a narrow scope, what do we mean? Yes, Josephine, let me come back to you again. Your hand has been up for a while.
Okay, sir. So, a business having a wider scope means that the business, project having a wider scope means that the content or the details contained in that project, it's very detailed.
What content? What content? We qualify the content.
The number of the duration of the project, the resources needed, the activities that is going to take place.
Perfect.
During the project.
So work content. We are talking about work content. Okay. So the work content, we define project scope as everything that the project entails, including the work content and the objective to be achieved. Okay. So if a project has a wider scope, what simply means is that the activities to be performed or the work to be performed or to be carried out are a lot. Okay, are a lot. Vis-a-vis the narrow scope, if you compare that one to a project with a narrow scope, do not have a lot of the work content, meaning that the specific activities to be carried out within that project, it's not a lot. Okay, so that defines it. So the birthday party and the airport, for example, they vary in scope. Yes, let's come back to how are they similar? Don't tell me they are all projects. We know.
I also want to give an example.
Okay, go ahead.
Minutes. Plan a birthday party, then execute it for the birthday party. But for airport, one person cannot just sit down within a few minutes, plan out how to come out with airport, then execute it within some few minutes or with some few resources.
Ebenezer, so are you telling me that when you are planning a birthday party, only one person is involved? Is that what you mean?
No, sir. So you can use a day to plan a birthday party, but you can't just use a day to plan airports that year without going to the location or going to the site to see what is going on or where
So
you can sit in your room and organize a birthday party at a particular place.
So that is what defines the scope of it, and that is what I explained earlier, that there isn't a lot of the work content in the case of birthday party isn't all that much, okay, compared to that of an airport. Okay, the work content in constructing an airport is wide, if you want. Okay, good. Okay, yes. How are they different? The most important thing I want to know, how are these two projects similar to each other?
Sir.
Yes.
They all involve planning, organizing, and also execution.
Okay, I'll take it. That is fine. So here, what it means is that the processes you go through to get the airport constructed will be the same process you go through to get a birthday party also done. It doesn't matter whether the duration is short, whether the scope is, you definitely go through the same process. So what are the processes for or the process that your project will go through? Project management processes. What are they? What are the project management processes?
Sir, can I give can I offer my contribution?
Yes, please. You
The
can.
processes. The processes. The first process is you come out with the idea.
So what is the terminology for that in project management?
You have to initiate.
No, hold on. Let me deal with Ebenezer first. Okay.
I'm forgetting the first one, the first terminology. But the second one is you plan.
Okay. Yes, okay.
Idea, the first one is idea conceptualization.
Yes.
So please, let's make it this way. If you want to talk, kindly put up your hand, and then I can call you so that we don't. Yes. Okay. So the processes are initiating. We have planning. We have executing, monitoring and controlling, and then closure. There are five processes. Okay. So the processes are the same. Either the project has a wider scope or a narrow scope. Every project will go through these processes to get it executed. Okay. However, the project may differ in terms of scope. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. So that just okay. So there are some points in the chat room. So let me go there to see what they are. Okay. So project management processes are initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closure. Good. So please know that the project management processes are distinct from the project life cycle, though they are related in some extent. Okay. Every stage of the project life cycle employs a particular process. Are you with me? So you should be able to know this so that you don't get confused. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Good. Good. So I have just explained these slides already that project scope is everything about the project. It involves naming, or it consists of naming all activities to be performed, resources to be consumed, the end product that results, including quality standards and other performance indicators. Okay. It includes project goals, the constraints and limitations. So even identifying or listing all the constraints that the project will go through. All these things are part of everything about the project. Defining everything about the project is the scope. Okay, scope. Now, you need to do what we call scope management. What it means is that you need to manage everything that the project entails. Okay, as part of your project management, you should be able to manage the scope. So scope management basically is a function of controlling a project in terms of its goal, objective through the process of conceptual development, full definition, execution, and termination. Conceptual development is just the initial phase of the project. Full definition means you are defining, you are planning by defining all that needs to be done in the project. You are executing the project, and then you come to a point of termination. Okay. Then it provides the foundation upon which all project work is based. Okay, and is therefore the conclusion of pre-development planning. It includes the processes required to ensure that the project include all the work required and only the work required to be completed to complete the project successfully. Okay, so it's important you understand that the scope must be managed. And when we say scope management, you are basically controlling the project in terms of the goals and objective through the various processes we just spoke of, or the conceptual development phase, through the full definition, execution, and termination. Okay. Also, managing the project scope is concerned with defining and controlling what is and what is not included in the project. So defining what is and what is not included in the project, defining and controlling what is and what is not included in the project is basically project scope management. Somebody has Mauli, he has a comment in the chat box. Please. Sir, please. So is education a project? Can somebody answer her? Is education a project? Is education a project? Can someone answer her? Answer him. Yes, Michael.
So I think education is a process. It's not a project.
Okay. 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 But within an educational system, there could be a project. Okay. There could be a project within an educational system, but education itself is a process. It's a process. The only time you stop education, you stop educating yourself is when you are, okay, it says that keeps on occurring at every point in time. Okay. Okay, thank you, Michael. Good. So scope management. So we have scope management is defining and controlling the project in terms of its objectives, goals, through the process of conceptual development, full definition, so on and so forth. It's also what the project is and what is not included in the project. So what is included in the project and what is not included. So if you are managing the project scope, you do that by focusing on some key elements. The first element is what we call conceptual development. Then we have what we call, you develop a scope statement. Then we have what we call work authorization. And then scope reporting. So you have to always give a report on scope, the scope of the project, how it is moving on. Then you do a control system or put in some control measures, and then you have what we call project closeout. These are elements of scope management. Okay. So let's just look at some few of them. The first one, the scope development. So, conceptual development. When we say conceptual development, you know already that the conceptualization phase of the project forms the basis of the project. It is the ideation stage of the entire project. So conceptual development phase is the process that addresses the project objective by defining the best way to meet them. So the first thing is that, why is there a need to run this project? What is the problem at stake? Okay, that requires a particular project to handle it or deal with it. So you define the project, the project objective, and in so doing, how can it be achieved? And that is the conceptual development stage of the project, the project scope management process. Okay. It means that you are creating an accurate sense of conceptual development. To create an accurate sense of conceptual development, the project management must data and develop several pieces of information. So to be able to have a good conceptual development or to go through the conceptualization phase of the project very well, you need to gather information. You need to gather relevant information. And the steps help you to, or the various you might consider when gathering all this relevant information for the conceptual development phase. The conceptual development of the project is that, one, you may have to look at the problem or the need statement. What is it that is warranting this project? What is it that is calling for this project? What problem needs to be solved? Okay, so you need to have a specific a problem or need statement to you need to define the need statement. So why is there a need to search for a solution for this problem? What is the underlying problem, or what the problem intends to do? All these are just the first thing you need to look at, is the problem or the need statement. Then you may have to look at what we call requirement gathering. Project requirement basically defines the demands, the needs, specifications of the project outlined by the project stakeholder. So if I contract you run a project for me, I give you some requirement, what I required, what I expect in terms of quality, in terms of, that is, performance indicators or performance, the project, the people you need to get involved, and all other things. Okay, all these are projects. So a type of project requirements are the product related requirements, quality requirements, performance requirements. Okay, so there are 3 types of requirements here. Okay. Then the next one is gathering, information gathering. Okay, so you gather information or relevant data for the project specific target date. Okay, specific project target date. Then you may have to look at the budget shrinkage. Okay. Then you may also have to look at issues with client demand. So what are the client demands? Okay, all these things are, target date, you need to look at alternative suppliers. So if you have suppliers, you always have to have backup. If your main supplier is able to supply, what is your plan? So get alternative suppliers. You need to know the degree of top management support for the project. All these are information you have to gather during the conceptual development phase of the project. You need to also identify the key constraints, the project constraints, time constraints, budget constraints, and all these are issues that must be critically looked at. You need to do alternative analysis. Alternative analysis simply means that you find alternative solutions to problems. So get a lot of alternatives out of which you make a choice. Always when you are presented with alternative, the best way, usually the best decisions are made when you have various alternatives. Out of the alternative you evaluate. But when you don't have any alternative, you are forced to go by whatever you have, and that is always not the best. So during the conceptual development phase, you're able to create as much various alternatives, okay, to help you in your decision making, and that is what leads us to look at what we call alternative analysis. And you have to also look at the project objectives. So the conceptual development include clear statement of the final objective of the project in terms of the output requirement, required resources and timing. It is important to note that all these issues in the conceptual development process work together as a system to ultimately affect the output of the project. Okay. Then, aside the conceptual development, you have to also, we have another issue called the statement of work, which is also an integral component of or integral element of the project scope management. Okay. A statement of work is a detailed narrative description of the work required to be performed. It's a document. It's a document that provides a detailed narrative description of every work to require to be executed in the project. It is useful statement of work often contains information on the key project objective, a brief and general description of work to be performed, the expected project output, any funding or schedule limitations or constraints. Everything that needs to be done within the project, everything are detailed or are described in detail in the document called the statement of work. Okay, so a statement of work is the impetus to begin project. It's often the results of a statement of work. Well, okay, and it provides the narrative, the detailed narrative description of all the work required to be performed. Okay. Now we just want to look at component of some element of the statement of work. So when we talk about statement of work, it must have an introduction which gives a brief history of the organization and the root need, okay, of the project. It has some technical description of the project. So here you analyze, provide some technical definitions of the technical capabilities project or technical challenges the project is intended to resolve. It contains the timelines and milestones. It has the scope, it covers the general scope of the work the contractor will be performing. It has issues, or it details out the tasks or the requirement. It also indicates the selection criteria for the project. It shows the deliverables and then the delivery schedule. So all these things describe or are issues that needs to be captured within the statement of work. Oh, good. Project charter. What is a project charter? We have heard this terminology before. When we're doing project life cycle, we talk about project charter. This project charter. What is project charter? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Please, I'm saying it again. Hold on, please. I'm repeating this. If you use your index number, please change it to your name or add your name to it. I won't say it again. I'll start removing people with only index number from the platform, from this, and I will make it such a way that you won't be able to join again. Okay. It's a simple. I've said this several times. Just change it to your name or add your name to it. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Maule.
Yeah, so a project charter, it can be defined as a document which is issued by the project initiator. And
so what's the purpose of the
Say the purpose of the project charter.
No, the purpose of the project charter document that is issued by the project initiator. In fact, there are lots of documents that are issued by the project initiator. Example could be the statement of work we have just talked about, and other documents that we will look at. So the most important thing is to know the purpose of the document project charter. Thank you. Anyway, thank you. Yes, Kwesi.
The project charter, what it includes is the objectives of the project and then the project scope. So it comes before the project plan is built.
In fact, almost all the documents we have will contain the project objective, and to some degree would also define the project scope. Okay, including even the the statement of work. But there is the purpose of that document is what is needed now. Thank you. Noah.
Hey.
Sir, I can say it outlines the project's key goals and identify its main stakeholders, something like that, and defines the 8 authorities of the project manager.
Hello, sir.
Okay, take Jemima. Yes, Eric.
Hello, sir.
Jemima, you wanted to talk?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay, let's listen to you.
Okay, please, I wanted to say that the project charter is a document which serves as a foundation for a project to be carried out.
Okay, what do you mean by foundation? Okay, yes, Eric.
Sir.
Hey, you people, you are not reading.
Sir.
You are not reading. Yes, Eric.
Sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can.
Okay. This is a document basically that is that contains information about the necessary approvals that the project has gone through. And then these approvals only are satisfied or they are given by the company after every necessary necessary activities relating to the project have been duly communicated, and then those in charge are satisfied with the activities that goes on. So they basically an approval for the project to either be carried out or not to be carried out. And this usually takes place during the conceptual development of the project.
Yeah, so is the approval is the document that sanctions the project or that officially announces the project to be implemented. It's a document that it's the formal communication or document that gives the project the authority to start implementing the project within the organization. Okay. So it sanctions the project within the organization. You people are reading. This thing is one of the first things you read if you read chapter 1 from chapter 1. From our first lesson, chapter 1. You are not reading. Okay. Good. Priscilla, do you have anything to say? I see your hand now.
Sir, I wanted to say that it legally authorizes the
Priscilla.
beginning of the project. Hello, sir.
Exactly. It legally authorizes the project within the organization.
Yes,
It
sir.
officially or formally mentions the project. Okay. Thank you. Please read. Okay. I'm not reading. Okay. Good. So let me talk about it. So again, I mentioned that project charter is a document issued by the project initiator that or the sponsor formally sanctioning the project, the existence of the project in the organization. The project charter demonstrates the formal company's approval of the project, and that can only occur when all necessary information during conceptualization or conceptual development have been satisfied. Okay. Good. Then another important element of the scope development is what we call scope statement. Scope statement. Okay. Scope statement. The scope statement is also the scope statement reflects a project team's best effort at creating the documentation and approval of all important project parameters prior to proceeding to the development phase. Okay. The key steps in the statement here include establishing the project goal criteria, developing the management plan for the project, establishing the work breakdown structure. Very important work breakdown structure, which I'm going to explain in my next episode. Okay. Now, work breakdown structure defines the division of the entire project to be executed in the project into individual sub-steps or individual components. Okay, and it's help us to establish the critical interrelationship among the activities. So in simple terms, if you look at the entire project to be determined or to be carried out, let's say that we want to build a house, a 2-bedroom house. That is the project. Now we break this project into individual components. So let's say to build the house, first we will need to do site preparation. So site preparation is a component of the overall project. After that, we may need to do we may do land preparation. We have to do excavation work. Okay, we have to do block laying. There are metal works, carpentry works, architectural works, and so on. So these individual components, when you divide the overall work to be done into individual components, we are saying that you are breaking down the entire project to what we call work breakdown structure. So as the name implies, work breakdown structure simply means that dividing the overall work to be performed, activities within the project to be performed into individual sub-steps. So from activity 1 or from component 1, you move on to component 2. From component 2, you move on to component 3. We do this so that we are able to establish within the project activities to help us to know which activity must be completed first within the project and which activity must follow, and also which activity can be done concurrently. Okay, so work breakdown structure is very important, and it is used as a planning mechanism because it helps us to plan the project activities. Okay, Without work breakdown structure, it is impossible to determine the relationship among various activities. Which steps must precede others and steps that are independent of previous steps and so on. Okay. Example of a work breakdown structure could be that when you are giving assignment, for example, assignment present a term paper or something in school, and it's a group work. So you divide the entire work for yourselves and say, okay, well, the first thing is that we need to go to define our topic, the second responsibility to some people, or after library responsibility, we have to develop the outline of our assignment. Then after that, we begin to work on it to prepare what goes into it. We produce the first draft after it. So you have to break the entire project to be performed individual steps. And each of these steps would assign a particular resource, okay, and duration, very important. So this is what we call work breakdown structure, work breakdown structure. What is the purpose of work breakdown structure? It echoes the project objective in the sense that work breakdown structure identifies the main work activities that will be necessary to accomplish the goal of the project. Okay. In so doing, what gets mentioned or what's mentioned in the work breakdown is actually what is performed. So when you look at the work breakdown structure that has been described, what is really done in the project. So it echoes the project objective. It is organization chart for the project. It shows you the structure of the project, what must be done first, and after that, what follows, and so on and so forth. So work breakdown structure offers a similar logical structure for identifying the key elements that need attention and the various subtasks and the logical flow from activity to activity. So it's an organizational chart. So you need to know what activity are needed to be performed, okay, and at what time, when is it supposed to come, when it's supposed to start. The work breakdown structure will indicate all these things. And in fact, you get to understand work breakdown structure better when you move on to scheduling, project activities scheduling, okay. Then we have work breakdown structure creates the logic for tracing cost, schedule, and performance. So break down work into individual components. Every component is assigned a cost, a resource, a duration. You get to know when that activity component of the project must be completed, okay? And then what performance output is required. So if you want to know the cost that you have incurred on project, go back to the work breakdown structure. Look at how much is spent on every section of the work breakdown structure or the component of the breakdown structure, and how long it takes you. So you are able to trace the cost and the schedule. It may be used to communicate the status. It may be used to communicate the status of the project in the sense that if you look at the work breakdown structure, the work that has been done, completed within the work breakdown structure tells you the status of the project, the status of the project, or the status of the project. Yes, it may also improve communication. So you are able to use it to show the communication, to communicate the project to the key stakeholders. It demonstrates how the project will be controlled. So you are able, from the work breakdown structure, you are able to control the project and know which activity must be completed within what activity, within what specific time, duration, and so on and so forth. Any question on work breakdown structure? Any question? Okay. The final thing is what we call work package. Work package defines what we call the work center in a project. Actually, when you go to a project site, the specific work you see the people doing defines the work package, is the work package which exists within a work breakdown structure. I told you that work breakdown structure, you break the entire project into individual components. So when you pick one component of the work breakdown structure, that component may have series of work packages. The work packages are individual activities that are performed. Individual activities that are performed. So if you take the example I gave you concerning building a house, if you look at land preparation as a work package, sorry, as a component of the work breakdown structure, then clearing the land, removing or excavating or removing stumps on land, these are individual work packages that must be completed. So work package is the actual work to be done. When you go to a construction site or a project site, do on site are actually individual work packages that are being carried out. So these individual work packages exist within work breakdown structure. So we say that work packages are defined as the work breakdown structure element of the project that are isolated for assignment to what? Work center for accomplishment. Work packages are the lowest level in the work breakdown structure, composed short duration tasks that have a defined beginning and end, and are assigned resources or cost and consumes resources. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far on these slides?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please, can you? Yes, sir. Please, can you, go over the work package? I mean, I'm trying to understand how it's different from the work breakdown structure, but I don't really get it. So if you can go over.
So when you break, let me use example so that probably that will help. When you break down, let me give you this. We want to build a 2-bedroom house. That is a project. Now, how do we go about this? Following. How do we go about this? The first thing is that let's divide the entire project into a series of steps or series of stages. Every stage is a component. Okay. Within every stage, there are individual activities that must be. Within every stage, there are individual activities that must be completed to get the entire stage or step activities completed. The individual activities that are carried out within every component is what we call work package. Okay, so let me give you an example here. Assuming we want to build a 2-bedroom house, we break that 2-bedroom house completion or project in individual components or stages or steps. So let's say that the first thing is that we need to do what we call site preparation step, or it's a component. Then after site preparation, or as part of or different from site preparation, another component could be the holding of blocks for building. It's also another component or steps. Then we have probably digging of the foundation and laying of the foundation block. Okay, it's also another component. Now, if you pick the first component of site preparation, okay, site preparation, one of the work on site preparation could be grading the site. That the grading activity that will happen is a work package.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yes, please.
Another work package within the component of site preparation could be probably removing stamps on the site. Green alone will not be able to probably remove all the stamps. So you might have to employ other activity to get on the site removed. That probably would also be another work package.
Okay,
so a number of work packages make up a component of the work breakdown structure.
Okay.
Or if you want, work breakdown structure is made up of individual packages of work to be completed. So when you have to break the entire, if you pick work breakdown structure is made up of individual actual work that is performed.
Okay, sir.
Is
Thank
it okay,
you.
Philo?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Good. Any other question? Okay. So if no other question, I'll move on to the next slide, and then we'll see where we'll get. Yes.
Yeah, so in all, the work package is like the work package forms the lowest level in the work breakdown system.
Exactly. That is actually where the work is done. So that is where the actual work, the project is done. So go to a project site, the specific work, for instance, go and you see a mason laying a block. The mason laying a block, that work is a work package. You see a carpenter probably fixing the wood somewhere. That is also another work package. So, for example, the entire work, we could have something like tower works within the entire project work could be a component of a work breakdown structure. And an example of a metal work here could be a steamer burning some iron rocks and fixing them somewhere. Is it clear? So that is basic level of activity within the work breakdown structure. Okay. Good. Okay, let me quickly shift to my next. When are we supposed to close?
It's 11:30.
We are starting 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11. So okay, 11:30. Okay, so it means that we have done about one hour and about 10 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So this one you know them already, so I would go very fast. Just linking them to the project concept is what is important, but you know them already. So don't worry, we'll close very soon. Okay. Now, I said from the beginning that, and even from the second lecture, those of you who have been reading, that you need to build a project team. You need to build a project team to work. Okay. We're going to look at the project team, the characteristics of effective project team, why project team fail, achieving cross-functional cooperation, conflict management, and negotiation. Okay, negotiation. Okay. Now, effective project team. So when you go to a project site and you see that a particular project team are very successful, I mean, do the work required and they achieve their results as required. That team did not happen by accident or it's not automatic. A conscious effort needs to be put in to build a very good project team. Okay, and that is what we're going to look at. A project team that is well thought through, okay, in building would have a higher performance, collective performance. And it is believed that a collective performance of a project team, individual performance, a collective performance of individual project team, is positively related to the success of the project. In other words, what I do affect what you do, what you affect what I do, what he does affect what the other person does. So together, if all of us do our work very well, then it goes along or impact on the success of the project. That is what we mean here. We are talking about collective performance together. Okay, collective performance. So how to build a project team, how to build an effective project team, how to build a project team. So we have what to call project team development. Now, in the project, every project has an objective to be achieved, which you know. And one of the key resources that will be required for the project is the team or human capital. Now, how do you get the people to be part of the project team? The first thing is you have to identify all the skill sets that are required to execute the project. Here you are identifying the skill sets that will be required. So one, if we have to build 2-bedroom house, what are the skill sets required here? Yes, let's go. What are the skill sets required for building a house? For building. Yes, what are the skill sets? Hello?
So I think we will need a steel bender or steel bending work. We need carpenters. We need bricklayers.
So skills in probably metal works.
Yeah.
Yes, any other? You also mentioned carpentry skills. Yes, any other?
Mason skills.
Masonry skills or mason skills.
Maybe plumbing skills.
Yes, any
architects.
Plumbing, good. Architectural skills. Yes. We are identifying all the skills that we will need. The skill. What?
POP.
Hello. POP. These are how do we, okay, you let me put it, POP skills.
It's a painting skills. Electrician.
What else?
Plumbing.
Electrical.
Plumbing.
Electrical. Plumbing. Yes. So here, so the first step, if you are building your team to work on the project, the first thing is that you have to identify all the skill sets that you require for them. Identify about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are more, honestly, there are more. So now we need to move on to the next. So find out within the organization, are there people who possess these skills? Okay, so you match. The second step is that identify people who match the skill set. The match is very important. Not identify people who can do the job. No, the people who, here we are matching skills. So people who have the required skills are the people we are interested in. So here, You may have to do assessment of the availability of personnel with the requisite skills if necessary. So you have to identify within the organization, do you have all the people with these skills within the organization? Yes or no. If the answer is yes, no, then it means that you have to recruit or look for people who have those skill sets and recruit to be part of the project team. Or you may want to train somebody to acquire that skill set and therefore bring the person on board. Are we together? So it's important you do this. So you have two alternatives. You can do a new set of recruitment to get people who have the skill set needed for the project, or you may want to train the people, some people to acquire that skill set. Okay, very, very important. So here we are identifying people who match the skill set we have identified already. Is the point clear? Can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay. The third one is that talk to the potential team members. So we are assuming that we are in an organization. We have identified the people within the organization who have the skill set. Okay, yes, those skills and can be part of the project team. Now we need to talk to the people to see whether they will be available to work on the project. Some of them also work with their top or their functional heads, and therefore it's important we also talk to their functional heads to release them to work on the project, Course, have the skill set may not be available to be part of the team. If that happens, what is our plan? Okay, what will be position? The final point here is that you may have to, if they all agree, assuming that if they all agree, then you have to assemble them and put them together. The project team. You contacted the architect in the organization and he told you were loaded with tax. What do? You wanted the person to be a full-time worker on the project. But here, he's not available, but you need him. Instead of getting the work of the architect can be done on a part-time basis. So you can negotiate for partial assistance instead of the full-time and be a fallback position that you may have to build. Okay, so this is just a flow chart to tell you all the things I have discussed on the previous slides. So identify the required people, identify skill required from the work breakdown structure, identify the personnel to match the skill set, talk to potential. So that this is just a step to let you know what to do or how to build a project team. Any question so far on this? First, identify the skill set required for the project. Second, identify people who match the skill set. Third, talk to the potential people and their final heads. Fourth, build fallback position. Fifth, assemble them. That is if everything is fine. If there are issues, for instance, they are unavailable, you may have to negotiate for partial assistance. You may have to adjust the project schedule because you haven't been able to put all the people together to start the project. You may have to notify top management for about the consequence of not being able to put up the full people together to work on the project. Okay. Now, quickly, let's look at characteristics of effective project team. Characteristics of effective project team. All of you have ever worked in a team before. Okay, you are in final year. You can't say that you came to UPSA, you have never worked in a project. No. So what are the things that make the project team or the team succeed? The team you work in. What are some of the things that made the team succeed? Tell me, let's mention some of these things and go fast. That's why I'm saying that these things, you know them already. Yes. Xavier.
I think one of them is cohesion, like being like cohesiveness.
Cohesiveness. So when the team members are bonded together, okay, there's a high cohesiveness between them. Yes. Any other? Quick. We know them already.
So I think trust.
James. Trust.
Yes,
when the people trust themselves. Yes. Any other?
When there is commitment.
Good. When there is
commitment.
Ideas. Commitment through when the people are committed to the project goal.
So effective teamwork.
Teamwork.
Effective what? Teamwork. So that is, you can get that one into the cohesiveness and yes, cohesiveness. Yes. Okay. Any other?
So when the goals
also
are made clear to the team members.
When they come again.
So I said when the objectives and the goals have been made clear to the team members. Can I please?
Exactly. When the project goals have been well explained to every team member understand what is required. Good. Thank you. Yes, any other? Okay. So when there is a clear sense of mission, that is when the project objectives have been clearly explained.
And coordination.
When it's organization and coordination. Okay.
Accountability.
So the point I want to explain here, which one of you mentioned, has to do with the productive interdependency. So when there is productive interdependency, interdependency refers to the degree of joint activity among team members that is required in order to complete project. So here, when what you do affect what I do, as I explained, what you do affect what he does affect what I do affect what he also does, and what he does affect what she. So productive, when we have this understanding, then it makes us succeed. That is what we call productive interdependence. When there's cohesiveness, there's trust. When there's enthusiasm, motivation, when the people are highly motivated, when they are results oriented. So these many other tests are reasons why a team would succeed, a project team would succeed. Before I move on, let me ask you this question. Why do you think a project team would fail? Why would a project team fail? Yes. Why a project team would fail? Why? Why do you think?
When there is
lack of communication. Lack of communication, good. Yeah. Lack of communication, yes. When there is
maybe poor leadership will come.
Poor leadership. I mean, when there is poor leadership skills or approach. Yes, 3.
When there is a delay in one's contribution.
When there is, come again.
So when there is a delay in one's contribution.
Listen, I didn't hear you. When there is a delay in one's contribution.
Yes, sir.
So can we put that point? Can we rephrase that point as when there is or lack of productive interdependence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes,
Sir,
comfort.
please, when the
Not
goals and
clear.
objectives
The
are not
project
clear.
team will fail. Yes, any other? Quick. Why a project team will fail? Loretta.
So when there's a lack of management from both sides, both the leading manager and the
Okay,
team members.
so can we classify that one as leadership problem? But we have already mentioned leadership.
Because of if the no, I was thinking that because this one involves I was thinking because this one involves the adequate management of also the team members themselves. I don't know how we put that because
Yes,
it's not only restricted to the leader.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Philomena. Yes, Philo.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
When there is lack of commitment.
Lack of commitment. So in simple terms, just negate all the issues we discussed. Okay, negate all of them. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Georgina, do you still want to talk?
Yes, sir. I was about to say that we should negate, just as he said,
Yes.
when there is an absence of everything we've listed in there.
Exactly. That is a point I just wanted to. Yeah. So.
Okay, sir.
Mm-hmm.
What of inadequate financial support or lack of financial support?
That one we all know already. So you see, when we bring questions like that, don't begin with these general thought. Okay, there are some issues that are too generic that it would fit the issue, the situation. But focus on the specific issues that we have mentioned in the course, and later when you have gotten your 3-4 points and you are lacking the final one, then you can quickly chip in this one. Are you with me?
Okay, sir.
You are not wrong. Of course, when there's no funds, but this one we don't need to think to know this already. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yes. Any other point? Okay, let me see. There are a lot of chats. Yes. So we have division in the team. When there is no trust. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, good. So that is what we have explained here. Poorly developed or unclear goals, poorly defined team members' role and interdependencies. So Loretta, I think part of your point fits here. When team members' role are poorly defined and there is lack of interdependencies in the things they do, lack of team motivation, poor communication, poor leadership, turnover among team members. Okay. Turnover is very important because, project team members are selected based on required skill set. So probably you have hired somebody from outside the country to be part of the project team in Ghana. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, it means that the skill set required for the project could not be procured locally. And all of a sudden, the person decides to quit the project and go. It leaves the project team. It's one of the reasons why the project team will fail, because it means that the skill required to execute that job is absent. and therefore the project team might not be able to work. And remember the issue of productive interdependencies. Okay. Then we have what to call dysfunctional behavior. Dysfunctional behavior here refers to individual personality issues, hidden agendas, interpersonal grudges, and so on and so forth. Okay, good. Now quickly let's go through project team formation or group formation. This concept applies to every group. So when you put people together in a project to work, they go through various phases or cycle, and that is what before the actual team that wins or successful effective team members are formed. Okay, so we just want to go through these to look at them one after the other. Now, the first stage, whenever you put people together, more than one, and whenever two or more people come together to do something, they go through these stages. And the same applies to project management team. So when you put them together, they go through the first stage, the forming stage. The second is storming stage. The third is norming. The fourth is performing stage. And finally, we have the adjourning stage. Okay, so quickly, let me use this figure to explain that and we can move on. The forming stage is usually called the inclusion stage. And most often, that is the stage that you test the people or the people are tested. And because of that, they come on board with different forms of personality and attitude. So they are quiet, polite, guided, impersonal, business-like, and high morale. Everybody wants to show up the best attitude ever to know that, well, they are here, okay, they are good, just to be part of the project team. So they convey, usually they are quiet, polite, they do everything just to make sure or to give a good impression about themselves. Okay, here they hide their true character a little bit. And this most often happens. For instance, when you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend for the first time, you were very polite, so kind, and all the things. You didn't want to do anything that is the first stage. That is the form. You understand the point?
Yes, I understand it.
Hey, Wowly.
That is the point where when you wake up every morning, you go and ask, have you eaten? How are you? How was your night? If his night wasn't bad, what will you do about it? But this time you still ask, how was your night?
Ask again.
And then she will say that, oh, you ask, have you eaten? You say, oh, no, I haven't eaten. What will you eat? I'll eat shawarma. And then you don't have money, but you still run and go and look for money to buy shawarma to eat.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because that is the forming stage. Everybody wants to present the very good impression. Good. So we are polite. We are very kind. We have high morale for everything that the project has to be done. Everything required. That is the forming stage. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Loretta, is everything fine? Is there any other thing you want to add? Loretta, are you there?
No, Loretta is not in the group.
Okay. Then, over time, when the team exists over time, now their true nature or character begins to show. And that is the stage where it is called storming stage. And that is basically infighting. That is when people's real attitude begin to show. Their they begin to work with each other. So they flow together. They begin to see each other's fault and mistakes and so on. So there's a whole lot of conflict over control, confrontational, alienation, issues of personal agendas, and they have no morale, characterized by infighting. Okay. So the point is that any team that survives this stage, storming stage, is likely to succeed. Okay, succeed and become very productive. So this stage is also called control stage, because this is where the manager must control, make sure that you control all the things that are happening. Are you with me? So come back to the same issue on relationship. You have moved with her for quite some time, and now 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and you have seen her true nature, and you have also seen his true nature and everything. So now a lot of things disgust you about her, about him, and now when you call her in the morning and say, "Oh, how are you? How was your night?" Then she goes by, "Ankadei, have you eaten? What will you do about it?" Have you eaten? If I haven't eaten, what will you do about it?
Philomena.
Okay.
Michael.
So these are infighting, and usually the truth of the matter is that any relationship that past this stage of infight, and a lot of relationships break up at this infighting stage because they are unable to control. And it's natural. It's natural that once two people who doesn't know themselves, two people who do not know themselves come together, they have to go through this storming stage. Okay. And anything you are fighting, the little thing you are fighting, you can't have any normal argument. Everything tends to a fight because
They are teaching.
Your true nature and your true character is showing. And it's normal because you have moved from the forming stage to the storming stage. Okay, to the storming stage. But here, the manager must control the issues. So the manager must control the team members, use all the techniques and strategy to control them so that the team would move away from the storming stage. Now, over time, the fightings begin to cease because you have understood yourselves, and that is the stage we call norming. Things begin to normalize. And now at the norming stage, you cooperate. Previously, if in the in the storming stage, if you call her once, twice, and she doesn't pick, the next time she picks, the question is that, where have you been? I've been calling you. Where have you been? And you begin to demand answers, which are really unnecessary. Okay. But at the norming stage, you have understood her that, well, probably when you call her and she doesn't pick, she's busy. And definitely she'll return your call when she sees it. So you are not worried and there's no need to fight. So at that point, at the norming stage, fighting have really ceased or reduced, and you are guided by established procedure. You have developed some team skills. You confront issues at that point, okay, and you have rebuilt your morale for the whole issue. So that is the norming stage. The norming stage is characterized by cooperation, and it is well organized. And that is where you begin to show signs of maturity in the case of relationship. Okay. You call him once and he doesn't pick, and you in the infighting stage, you are suspecting her, especially if you call and the line is busy. And intentionally about 5 minutes time, let me call again to see if the line is busy. So you call 5 minutes time, the line is still busy. You wait for small time, so let me call again. You call again and the line is still busy. Who is this person?
Preach on.
You understand? And now when you call, when he picks, the first question is that, who are you talking with? Why is the line busy? You have neglected me. You have seen my call. You are not picking, and you are standing on. It's unnecessary. Okay. But at the point of norming stage, these things are no longer issues, because when you call once, you know, and he doesn't pick, you know that the person is attending to an important call. Probably if the call is less important, the person is excused whoever is talking with and call you back. You know all
Oh,
these things,
he's
so
cheating
these
on
things
you.
doesn't affect you. Okay. And now the team from that stage move on to the final stage we call performing stage. Here, they have built trust, they are flexible, easy to amend their issues to accommodate others, they support each other, they are confident, efficient, and this is where the team is on the high level, and it is characterized by high level of productivity. Okay. Like I said earlier, any relationship that survives the infighting stage has a higher probability of ending in marriage. Okay. Okay. Any relationship that is able to survive the infighting stage has a high probability, but not always the case, okay, of ending in marriage. So at this point, if we are looking at it from the relationship point of view, at the productive stage is where probably the people are getting married or preparing, or they have married or so on, or something like that. Okay. Then the final stage is the adjoining stage. The adjoining stage is where the team have executed their mandate, they have achieved the objective of the project, and then they are disband. Okay, the team are disbanded for everybody to return to wherever he or she came from. The project is closed. There's nothing more to be performed. Okay, so this is what we call stages in group development, which applies to almost every group, not in project management alone. Any question? Any question before I move on?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, with regards to the storming stage, could there be a case where after forming, then we move to norming? Because maybe a company form a team to embark on a project. So after the project has been completed, they adjourn the members. So and maybe they need another team to embark on another project. So maybe they call these individuals again.
Yes.
So at this stage, there will be no storming. Like there will be no. Okay.
That is a good example. So you see, it depends on the inclusion stage. Okay. The storming stage, the infightings and those things depends on no. So you see, the team will still go through some kind of infighting or storming stage, but probably the degree of infighting is what is going to reduce. Okay, you know, probably the tax have changed, the project objective have changed, and therefore will require some adjustment in personal, in skills and other things. So there would somehow there would be some kind of storming, but the degree either it will be very intensive, or the infighting and those things would be much. It depends on the kind of inclusion that is made at the forming stage. Do you understand? But there would definitely be a storming stage which can last for a very short period of time. The storming stage could also mean misunderstanding over the task to be performed and other things, not understanding the project objective and other things. So it is creating some kind of, so even though I know you, we relate very well, but we disagree based on the work to be performed and these are part of the storming stage. Are you with me? So it would definitely go through the storming stage, but probably duration, how the storming stage will last, the intensity of the infightings, and these are the things that probably might minimize. Okay, but the storming stage will definitely be there. Is it clear? Because in the case of the example you gave, the project might have changed, and once you change the project, it changes everything. Okay, it changes everything.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Any question? Any other question? Okay. Let me move on if there are no other questions. You have to understand that there are virtual project teams. Okay, now we are talking, we are having lectures virtually. Okay, and everything is fine. So some project might not require the physical presence of all team members to execute what needs to be done. Are you with me? So we have what to call virtual project team, which you should have a fair idea about. Okay. Now, quickly, let me move on to what we call conflict management. Because 2 or 3 people are put together to execute the project, conflict will definitely occur. Before I move on, what is a conflict? Give me one word. Let's do this quick. A word.
Disagreement.
One word that means or that represents conflict. One, disagreement.
Misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding. Yes. One word. We have disagreement, misunderstanding.
Mistrust.
Discord.
Mistrust. You said what?
Discord.
Discord. Okay, discord. Yes. Dispute. Yes, dispute. Yes.
Sir, friction.
Friction. Good. Friction.
Disunity.
Disunity.
Dispute.
Yes, dispute. I've written it. Yes. One word to represent conflict.
Say strife.
Controversial.
Strife. Good. Controversial. Yes.
Sir, can you say war?
Yes. I want more. Yes.
Say fracas. No, I mean, can you say war?
War. Yes. War. Good.
Sir, please, how about arguments?
Yes, there's a word coming. Let me hear the word. You said it's what?
Infighting.
Fracas. Wow, let me check this word. How is it spelled?
Say.
FRACAS.
Okay.
So it's actually pronounced as fracas.
Fracas. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I'll have to check. Great. We are learning now. Yes. Infighting. Somebody said infighting.
Yes, sir, I said.
Yes. Any other word that represents?
Say inharmony.
Inharmony. Hey, I see. Inharmony. Okay. Okay.
Sir, can you also say variance?
What?
Variance.
Variance.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It depends on how you use it. Variance. Okay. Good. Now,
argument.
Now, those of us. Quarrel. Oh, very good. Bring us home to a language that we understand than saying fracas.
Misunderstanding.
The argument.
Argument. Yes. Quarrel.
Clash.
What is that? Clash. Good.
Argument.
Clash. Very good. Yes. Bring inharmony to confuse us.
Someone says squabble.
Hey. Loggerheads. Okay, good.
Strife.
So, that's fine. Strife. Somebody have said it already. Good. I can't count the words I have written here. There are a lot. Okay. I just made us went through this. Battle. Yes, battle. It's okay.
Dispute.
Oh, master, it's okay. So we went through this simply because I want you to understand that when we say conflict, a lot of us think that conflict is just mere fighting, physical blow to blow and those things, insulting each other and so on. Okay. But fighting conflict simply means that we disagree, we don't align, we don't align on thought. So just forget about the normal face-to-face fight, okay? Misunderstanding, mistrust, and all these things, okay? Disagreement. So the issue is that once we work in a team, we may disagree, we may not align on certain actions, certain decisions, even how things are supposed to be done, we may not agree. All these things are what? Conflict. And if the project manager doesn't manage these things, they all have the potential to affect the success of the project. Do you all agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Hence, the need for the project manager to understand what conflict is. Okay. So a conflict is said to begin when you and I think that a major interest of us is likely to be frustrated. Okay. It's likely to be frustrated or is frustrated. Sometimes a conflict just exists, or we have conflict with people because we think it's just a thought or perception. It's just a thought. Let me give you an example that probably you might have experienced it. Assuming you have spotted a lady on campus that, in fact, somebody will say you have your eyes inside. She looks nice on every side, okay, and you wish, it's your wish, or you haven't gone forward, it's just your wish. So you have an interest, that is your interest. But now you see that there's another gentleman who probably you are the cool type. You don't have the vim and the kappa to even go forward, but you have an interest. Now you see a guy who is very eloquent, very open, and he doesn't care anything, and he's approaching this lady, and you think that that guy has the potential to take away what you think, or to frustrate that your interest. Let me use that word. Now, inwardly, you begin not to like the person. Okay, so a fight begins. So we say that conflict is a process, meaning that conflict doesn't just happen once. It takes time for a conflict to start. Conflict goes through process. Are we together?
Yes, please.
Good. So conflict is a process. One, you should understand that. And it's simply because when you perceive that someone wants to frustrate your interest, or someone has frustrated your interest, then you have a conflict with the person. It could mean that when you don't align in thought, when you don't agree with someone, when there is a friction between you and someone, all these things are what? Conflict. There are two types of conflict. We have what to call goal-oriented conflict. Goal-oriented conflict are related to the job to be performed. So we don't agree on how things should be done on the job. We don't agree on how to achieve certain objectives. I'm saying that we should do this in order to achieve the objective. You are saying that no, let's do it. These are goal-oriented conflict. Then we have administrative conflict. Administrative conflict relates to reporting relationship. I am the boss, you report to me, and so on and so forth. Then we have interpersonal conflict. These are personal grudges, work ethics, behavior style, ego, and personality. Probably your ex-boyfriend probably was called Charles, and because of what happened, anybody called Charles is an enemy to you. So all of a sudden in your workplace, you came to project team and there's a guy called Charles. And not only does he call Charles, probably his hairstyle also resembles that of your former boyfriend. Okay. and that wasn't the whole issue. So that is what we call personal conflict. So here it is based on your personal, your ego, your personality, and your past experience and other things. It's important you know these three types of conflict. Is the point well made?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So three types of conflict: goal-oriented conflict related to the goal, disagreements and on the task to be performed; administrative conflict, which often report issues related to issues on reporting, relationship, and so on. Then we have personal, interpersonal conflict. Sources of conflict. Again, conflict may arise simply because we are using the same resource. For example, if on the site, project site, we share resources. For example, there's a wheelbarrow that I use and there's a wheelbarrow you also use for your work. A conflict may happen because the time that I want the wheelbarrow to use to execute what I have to do, you are using it. So when there is a competition for shared resource, it's a source for a conflict. Violation of, so when you violate the norms of the organization or the group, when there is disagreement over goals, as I said, and also when there's a personal slight or threat to job security and so on. We can classify conflict, also look at the sources of conflict in two forms. We have what we call organizational causes. Again, scarce resources, I explained, uncertainty over lines of authority, especially when you don't know who is the boss or you report to and so on. This creates a lot of conflict. Another important point I want to mention here is the differentiation. Differentiation simply means that if you work in department, for instance, we are in the school, marketing people have a different way of doing their things. Business admin have a different way of doing their things. Accounting also have different way. Okay, so because of this differentiation, we have a way of doing our things. So when the match of this conflict came purposely because of the differentiation or their background, where they are coming from, the differentiation that exists in their background. Is this point clear? Hello, are you with me? Please respond and let's
Yeah. We are good.
Okay, good. Then we have interpersonal conflict. Interpersonal conflict, just faulty attribution, faulty communication, personal grudges, and prejudice. I explained this already. Okay. So quickly, let's look at methods of resolving a conflict. How can you resolve a conflict? So there are a number of ways to resolve a conflict, right? The first one is to mediate a conflict. Mediation is when there are two ways to mediate a conflict. Okay, mediation is when a third party comes in. Okay, and there are two ways to mediate a conflict. You can diffuse the conflict, or you can use a confrontational approach to mediate a conflict. The diffusion is when the project manager is less concerned about the cause or the root cause of the project. Sorry, the conflict, the root cause of the conflict. He's less concerned about it. So here, he doesn't want to know who did what or what caused the conflict, but he just wants to diffuse the issue. So he explained that, oh, there's no point you people fight over this. After all, we are all pursuing the same goal. Your output, your win is my win, and therefore we don't need to fight. So please stop fighting and focus on the work. Here, the project manager has used a diffusion method to solve the conflict without finding out the root cause, but he has brought the individual people to a mutual acceptable solution not to fight. That is diffusion method, approach of mediation. Is it clear?
Yes,
sir.
sir.
The confrontational approach is where the manager engage both parties to understand what caused the conflict. So here he find out what happened. Then this person will say that it's my turn to use the wheelbarrow. When I went, this person has taken it. Then this person will say that, oh, we have apportioned, he will use it, he uses this time, and it's my turn, and so on. So here the manager gets to know that the root cause of the conflict is the wheelbarrow, because they are using a common resource. So here he dig to find out the root cause of the conflict and eliminate it. So in this case, to eliminate such a conflict or to solve such a conflict, you can provide each of them a wheelbarrow and the conflict is solved. So here, confrontational approach to mediation digs to the root cause of the conflict, but mediation, the diffusion approach to mediation doesn't dig to the root cause. It's not concerned. The root cause of the conflict is not important, but the individual parties are brought to mutual acceptable solution, not to fight again. So that is mediation. Any question? Can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's well explained.
Yes, sir.
Please, can you explain the mediation?
Yes, sir.
If you say mediation, I have just explained mediation. This is what last week somebody mentioned that when someone asks a question, I sometimes how was the comment?
That was the one. I was like sometimes.
So you look at this thing.
So this one is a rare case.
So who asked the question? What do you want to know?
Oh, when now.
What don't you understand about mediation? Hello.
Yeah, maybe he's just in love with the word.
Oh no, please let us help him. He wants me to explain mediation. And mediation, there are two types, which I have just explained. Yeah. So which of them don't you understand?
And confrontation.
Hello.
So please move on.
Oh no, are you offended?
He's shy.
Oh no, please don't be offended. Okay, sometimes some of these things happen. Hello. Okay. Then please let's move on to arbitration. Here, in the case of arbitration, the project manager serves as a judge. Okay, and here he adjudicates. Okay, he handled the issue, and at the end of the day, he passed judgment. So he always arrives at the point, a solution, or he gets to a point where he passed judgment that, okay, looking at the whole issue, you didn't do well, you are the culprit, you have done this, you are guilty, and therefore the punishment is that you have to do this and this and this. This is a very harsh way of resolving a conflict. Okay, so that is he renders a decision as a judge. The project manager impose some kind of judgment on the warring parties and so on and so forth. So that is arbitration. Is it clear?
There.
Yes.
With the arbitration, before he can give out his decision, he listens to both sides.
Of course. That is what it means. We don't mean that he engages them, of course. So before he can arrive at a decision, he needs to listen to both of them, and then based on that, he passes his judgment. All right. Then another way is to control the conflict. because not all conflict can be solved immediately. Let's assume that you are the project manager. You have a deadly deadline to meet by close of the day. You should do certain things by close of the day, else certain things will go wrong as far as the project is concerned. In the middle of the day, when you don't have time and you are pushing your people to work, two people started fighting serious. In fact, if you look at the way they are fighting, you can't solve the problem now because you don't have the time, the luxury of time to do that. So you need to control that conflict. How can you control this conflict? What will be your strategy to control this conflict? So that later you can come back to solve the conflict. Who can tell me the quickest way to control such a conflict? Yes.
Sir, you can ask differences aside and work to achieve the target, and after.
Are you sure this will be the immediate? Because they are heated up.
Sir,
yes.
I think the best way to resolve such a situation is to send both of them home from the place. They should both go home.
They are required. Have you forgotten skill set?
Without their presence.
Have you forgotten the skill set we talked about?
We spoke about, yes, I understand the skill set, but just like you said, they were fighting heatedly. There is a likelihood that without your presence, this fight can continue.
No, I agree. I agree. But their skills are also needed to complete the project.
There. Can you diffuse the problem?
No, at this point, they are too heated that diffusion will not solve the problem.
Hello,
Who can
sir.
tell
Can
me
I give my contribution?
Yes, give, please.
When they are in the same team, you either separate them.
Exactly. And you just change their location, separate them. Let me give what we have all gone through this before. When we were in primary school, you go to
what
primary
did he
school,
say?
you separate. You can, if they are in the same team or working together individually. So they are working as a team. Okay. Then you may have to separate them. Okay. You may have to separate them. Yes.
So what if both of them are on the same job, they are in the same department, and they are to finish the job by close of day?
That is what we are saying, that you can separate them. Okay. That could be the immediate way of getting the things done. Okay. Some things done. So you remember, let me give you an example. When we were in primary school, and the teacher is teaching, when our teachers are teaching, and sometimes two people are disturbing, but the teacher has to finish what he or she has started. Okay, what does he do? He quickly changes the sitting position of the student. Is that not the case?
Yes.
Yes. It's a way of controlling. If it's in the case of fighting, he will change it, and later when it's break time, you call the two people and now begin to find out what happened and try to solve the problem perpetually. Is that not the case? Yes. So here the point is that you can control the conflict. Here you control the conflict. Yes. What is it? Is it Savior? What Savior said could also be, that is, if their skill set are not all that required, and you think sending them home is the best way to control the conflict so that the work can go on and later solve it, that is fine. Okay. Is it clear?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So the project manager has to, the point is that the conflict cannot be solved now, but it must be controlled so that the work can go on, and then later it can be solved. So sometimes not all conflict should be solved quickly. Okay, not all conflict can be or should be solved quickly. Yes, is it Jetty? I didn't see the hand where. Somebody raise a hand.
I am. Sir, please, it was a mistake.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Then the other thing is that sometimes some conflict can also not be solved. Okay, not all conflicts are manageable. So sometimes you just have to accept the conflict. So accepting the conflict in itself is a solution to a conflict. It's a way of resolving the conflict. For instance, if we work in the same organization, and I know that Xavier and are not in good terms, meaning that they are always fighting anytime the two of them are working together. I, as a manager, accept that, well, there's a conflict between these two individuals. In so doing, I don't pair them together. But if I don't accept that there is a conflict between them, there's a possibility of putting them together and they'll go and fight, and it would affect the output of their performance. So sometimes accepting just the mere fact that you accept the conflict is also a solution to the conflict. So we say that accept the conflict is a solution, is a way of resolving a conflict. Then finally is to eliminate the conflict. How do you eliminate a conflict? How can you eliminate a conflict? If two people are fighting in an organization and you want to eliminate the conflict, what can be your action? What are some of the actions that can lead to total conflict elimination? Yes, James. James, your line is not good at all. Yes, who else? Vandita, your line is also not good. I can't hear anything.
The way they are stilted, and if it is not
James, your line is very bad. We can't hear anything. So can you unmute yourself and probably send in your comment through the chat box? I'll read it out.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please, can we also say that maybe if the company has many branches, you transfer one of them to the other branch?
Exactly. That can be done. So transfer, you just have to transfer one person and the conflict will be eliminated. So you are in Accra and now you are fighting with someone. When we take you to Northern Region, Tamale, you come take a car from Northern Region and come to Accra and fight and go back. Okay.
It's not fair, sir.
It's
not fair.
What is
So you
not
have
fair
to suspend them.
I mean that would be like you are punishing someone.
Exactly.
We care less. We care less about that. The point is that we want to eliminate the conflict. The conflict is the point of interest here. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So just bring your attention to the conflict. We want to eliminate the conflict. So we are saying that transferring is a means of eliminating. How the transfer will be done is not important to us. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What other thing can you do to eliminate a conflict? We have talked about transfer. Yes.
The suspension.
Suspension. When the person comes there, if it's a personal conflict, when the person returns from suspension, the conflict will come again. True or false?
So you suck.
No.
If it's a personal conflict, it can come. So here we want to eliminate the conflict. Yes, Precious.
Sir, sir, you make sure that everyone is treated fairly.
Precious.
Sir.
This is your response. We have to analyze it too. So meaning that the source of the conflict is the unfair treatment. Is that not it?
Yes.
Okay. What if the source of the conflict is not unfair treatment? How can we eliminate it?
But this one, it should.
Oh, so the question I asked you crafted your own question and you provided your own answer. Do you understand? You form your own question that, okay, let's assume that the source of the conflict is unfair treatment. Then you have to be fair and the conflict will be removed. Okay. Yes, any other? How do you eliminate the conflict? Yes, there's somebody with an index number. I have told you to change the index number to your name.
Sorry, sir. Sir.
Finger.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Sir.
Yes.
Hello,
okay, go ahead.
What about demoting the person?
Demoting
the source from the person who brought about the conflict.
What if the person is at the lowest rank? If that is down, doesn't fear falling. So what if the person is at the lowest rank?
So then that's when you suspend the person or you sack the person.
So it tells you that your answer is not entirely correct. Okay.
But it was a suggestion. I wanted to know if.
Good. Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
When the person is at the lowest, it means he has a person.
It means
you sack the person, you get rid of
exactly. That is what I want. The one way to eliminate a conflict is to sack the person. So if two people are fighting, they keep on fighting, you can sack both of them and the conflict will solve. Or you can sack one. Our point of interest here is how to eliminate the conflict. Okay. So if it's possible, the second one will remove the conflict or eliminate the conflict, then you do that.
Yes. I don't get it. Why not sacking both?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying, that if it is possible, okay, if it's possible, if it's not possible and you think, but we are not interested in who to sack. Okay, the point
we
is
are not interested in feelings.
Yeah, we are only interested in the fact that sacking one or sacking them or sacking one will solve or will eliminate the conflict. But whether you are sacking both, if it's possible, we don't care. Here is that we are only interested in how a conflict can be removed or eliminated. And we are saying that one, you can transfer, you can sack, you can do other things. But the point is that we are looking at how the conflict will be removed. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, can we also say that ensuring that there are good ethical behavior within team members to eliminate conflict?
Yes, we can say that, but that will mean that if the source of the conflict is coming from the absence of if the conflict is coming from probably personal, the source of the conflict is a personal issue, okay, where people exhibit some unethical behaviors and so on, then probably measures can be put in place so that those unethical behavior will not be exhibited within the team or other things. So honestly, all the points you are saying are correct. I'm not saying they are not correct, okay, but it depends on how you pick it up. Yeah, Philomena, the last hand, and let me go.
Hello, sir. And please, with the explanation you gave to accepting the conflict,
yes,
I want to ask that, like you said, if let's say two people are fighting and you accept the fact that there is a conflict, you can just separate them. You make sure they don't work together. But that also does not actually solve the conflict.
Yes,
what I'm asking is that can you just jump and then accept, or it's like you've tried other ways to solve the conflict and it didn't work, so now you come to understand that there is a conflict and you don't. Oh, okay.
Good. So I thank you for your comment. So it means that a multiple of these approaches can be applied So for instance, you want to control the conflict. One way to control the conflict is to probably accept the conflict, okay, and then manage it a little bit and later come back to find a final solution. It could also mean that, well, you have tried all possible means, but these two people, for instance, fighting, they are key people. Their skills are so critical and very expensive to probably fire them. Are you with me? So in this case, what do you do? So we are not saying that these are exact method that would solve, but you may have to apply. Probably you have tried diffusion. You have tried diffusion, it's not working. You have attempted probably arbitration, it didn't work. Maybe you may need to eliminate the conflict by probably sacking one or two of the sacking them. But assuming that locally you can't find somebody with that skill set, you brought the person probably from outside to be part. If you sack the person and it goes, the project is left undone. I mean, their growths are so critical. So what do you do? These are the complex issues we are looking at. Okay. So it must be examined from these perspectives and dimensions. Not so easy and straightforward as it might be. Are you with me?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Is it okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. Any other question?
Sir.
Yes.
So based on the explanation you just gave, I want to ask, is it really possible to entirely eliminate conflict between team members?
Yes, it is. It is. It is. There are some. So, for instance, I know why you are asking this, because you think that sometimes team members' roles are so critical that you cannot sack them.
No, yes, it's a bit critical, and the cost involved.
Yes. There are some skills that they are though critical, but if the cost involved is not much, sacking. You think that sacking them would probably make the project at a very lower cost. Then probably it's a way. So it's possible. And also the issue of transfer, for instance, you can transfer some people and you eliminate the conflict perpetually. So it's possible. It's really possible. Yes, Mans.
Okay, sir. Sir.
Yes, Mans.
I went to work around Ibri for some time, and the director over there, normally when he wants to sack a worker, they have a term for saying it. Excuse my language, they call it fucking sack. And when it comes to that, you don't get your pay.
Okay.
Yes, normally when they find you sleeping on the site or something, it was a construction work, an estate. So when they find you sleeping on site, they sack you. You don't get your pay. That's what they term as fucking sack. And if they find any other defect on a worker, which, like, if they find any other defect, we'll also do the same thing. So where I was like this, there were people fighting, and then it resulted in like a dirty fight.
Okay.
So like it was like an ethnic, like two people.
Yes.
Then, so with that, is it right for someone for resolving the conflict? Is it right for the person to sack the person and not give the person his money, or if you not sack the person, you don't give the person's money to him to resolve the conflict?
So that is more of the contractual agreement that exists between you and your employer. Okay. Yes.
But it wasn't made known to them before they started the work.
Good. So these are the unethical issues that offends that kind of contract or that kind of arrangement that was not. So ideally, you should have been given terms and references, okay, to know that, well, the job we do on site, construction site, is very deadly, and therefore sleeping on site is not is totally prohibited in the sense that if you sleep and then a block fall on you, we bear the cost. Okay, you put us in trouble. So sleeping is totally prohibited. Once you are found sleeping on the job, you are sacked. Another thing is that in the case of fighting, whatever the problem may be, if the two of you fight on site, because construction site, there are metals, there are equipment, so if fight occurs and it's a dirty fight where the people become aggressive, somebody can take a cutlass to hit somebody and cut somebody, which is so. So these are measures that they put in place to control them, but they should make these things known to the employees. Okay, that way, if you fight on site and you will be suspended without giving you your pay, if that is the arrangement, then that is fine. But per the explanation you gave, I think there is an unethical issues with the employment contract that governs you and your employee. Okay.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, so let's move on.
I want to add something.
Yes, okay.
Sometimes you would think that the cost involved in recruiting new people with those skills until
Hello, go ahead.
Still not sack people or not transfer them. But I think it will be prudent to sack somebody who will retard the progress of your organization. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We are listening.
Sometimes, regardless of the cost involved in recruiting new people with, I think sacking or transferring them will be best. Because when there is conflict and they are together and there's no coordination or teamwork, it retards the progress of the organization. So it's better to sack and then recruit people than to think of the cost involved, and so you want to retain them.
No, so I agree perfectly. So that is why the project manager would have to assess the situation to decide on the best way possible. So if you look at it, we have given so many methods or approach to resolve the conflict. So these are the things that the project manager must know before he ends up. There are some sackings, if sacking is a way of solving a conflict, if the cost is so simple and straightforward, let me give you an example. Assuming that a particular skill on a project requires that you take somebody to school for probably 4 years to do his BSc. After that, you do his master's for him to get the full skill set to come and work on the project. So you have spent 6 years educating the person who has come to work on the project. Now, in the course of the project, you did all these things because you couldn't find alternative, you couldn't find that skill, recruit that skill so easily or so cheaply, and that is why you think the best way was to go through that. Now, this person is the only one with that kind of skills working on the project. Something happens. Do you think that it will be so easy to say that, well, let me sack regarding all the costs, let me sack the person and then the conflict will resolve? Rather, you may have to employ other strategy or other techniques to control the conflict. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
However, if the skill set involved here is something that you can easily procure, then I mean you are not obliged to still let a person cause that kind of confusion and so on and so on. But sometimes it may also get to a point where you have no alternative than to just sack the person and face the consequences. Because if that one would help move the project, why not? Okay. So it's important we understand that. Okay. Let me move on. I have the last. Let me finish, and then if there are other questions, we can relax. There are, I think, about 2 more slides to finish for the day or so. Yes. Okay. Now, let's quickly look at this, go through what we call negotiation. So the project manager is always in negotiation with the team members, negotiating with them for the work to be performed, and also not only that alone, but also even engaging management for more resources and so on. So negotiation is an important skill that the project manager must have. Okay. Before the project manager enters into negotiation, there are some key questions he must have. And even this applies to all of us. It's not even project management alone. Before you enter into any negotiation, there are things you should have in mind. How much power do you have, or do I have? Now, let me give you this. I am the lecturer of the course. Assuming you, the student, would have to come and negotiate with me on the day for your IA, and also, or probably the nature of your IA, whether you want multiple choice questions or theory written type.
5 points respectively off the top, and the leaders Chelsea, you have that 3-point gap above Liverpool, so then play later tonight as well.
The Chelsea man.
So if you have to come and make this negotiation, don't you think that, let me ask Ben, between me and you, who has the bargaining power?
You, of course.
Yes. So knowing that I have the bargaining power, when you are coming to negotiate with me, you know how to approach the whole negotiation. True or false?
Say true.
But assuming that, for instance, you read in your student manual and you saw that, well, the student have the right to decide the kind of exams they take. Okay. If it's in your student manual, rules and regulations, that students decide on the day to write exams, not the lecturer, then in this case, the bargaining power is with you. Is that not the case? So when you are coming, you come by saying, oh, sir, we want to do the exams on this day, and we want this and this, and God, here you think the bargaining power is in your hands. But in the case of the other one, you come and say, oh, sir, we are pleading with you. This semester, there are a lot of things. Our project work is affecting us so much. There are a lot of courses, assignments disturbing us. So we kindly ask if you can push the exams to this day. And also, if it's possible, make it probably multiple choice questions. Are you with me? So the power you have determines how you approach to negotiation. Then the second one is the pressure. It is believed, Jedu, you are making a lot of noise. I mute you and you will mute yourself and you distract the class with your background information. Noise. Yes, so the other one is the time pressure. Okay. If there is an agency or there's a pressure on you, then your negotiation power, please don't go. I've seen that a lot of you are leaving. Okay, we'll soon finish. I myself am more tired than you are. So I have just 2 slides to finish this. So stay on. A lot of you have left. Okay. The time pressure. So for instance, let me give you this example. Assuming you are working in town, you don't need to buy any shirt. All of a sudden, you met someone who is selling a dress or a shirt. The dress looks very nice, but you don't have any need of it. But it looks nice, so you want to buy. Don't you think your negotiation approach is different from you just got the news that your best friend, one of your best friend, is organizing his birthday. He just gave you the wedding colors and you realize that none of your dresses fit it or your shirt fits it. So the wedding is in about 2 hours. Okay. Or let me give you this example. This example will fit well. You have an exams on campus, okay, at 8 o'clock, okay, and usually it takes you, let's say, 30 minutes to come with Uber from your house to campus to take it for lectures. Now you wake up late and realize that you are just 10 minutes to 8 o'clock to start the exams. You jump into Uber and the Uber is saying that he will charge you 56. Normally you would pay 20 cedis, but this Uber guy is charging. But there's pressure on you to get to campus on time. Do you think you would have enough time to bargain till you get to the 20 cedis as you pay normally?
No.
No. Do you understand?
It's easy to explain to you.
But at that point, your exams is more important to you than the price.
That is the pressure. So here, the Uber driver is likely, or the taxi driver is likely to win the bargaining because one, you don't have enough time to keep on negotiating, and you don't have time. That is the point we want to talk about here. So when there's pressure, so don't go to the negotiation table with pressure on you. Are you with me? The other thing I want to talk about is trust. Trust plays an important role in negotiation. So do you trust your opponent? So let me give you this example. If you are going to buy something from your brother's shop, okay, your brother's shop, you go and he tells you that, well, as for this thing, you pay 20 Ghana cedis. Would you also ask him? Would you ask him again to reduce the price?
No, sir.
No.
Why?
Say yes.
Those of you saying no, why?
So, because maybe the price
no, because you trust he won't cheat you.
You trust him that he won't cheat you. Your underlining point is that, oh, as for my brother, why would he cheat me? So that is the trust. Okay. But if you went to somebody you don't know and the person mentioned 20 cedis, you say, oh, massa, reduce some. What 20 cedis? Then you begin to bargain. So trust plays an important role in negotiation. That is the point I want to make here. Finally, let's quickly look at some principles in negotiation. So anytime you are going into negotiation or the project manager is going into negotiation, you should always put yourself in their shoes, in the one you are negotiating with, so that you can arrive at a win-win situation. Most often when you put yourself in your opponent's shoe, you are able to come out with argument or with options that are likely to benefit both of you, rather than just being in your side. So understand that. Don't deduce their intention from your fear. So for instance, you know that I am the lecturer, you know that I'm the strict type, I'm likely not to accept, and so on. So you fear. And because of that, you are deducing what my reaction from your fear. But meanwhile, I might react differently. So come to the negotiation table with a clear intention, not harboring any fear from don't deduce how I will react from just the mere fact of the fear you harbor or you have for me. Don't blame them for your problems. Recognize and understand emotions. Emotions play an important role. Emotions. So when negotiation, you should understand emotion. What if you are negotiating and people start crying? You should know what that means. Sometimes it could be that it's a sign of weakness. Sometimes it's also a weapon to lure you to agree on certain things. So you should understand emotions. Okay. Listen attentively. Okay. So you need to listen when you are negotiating. Okay. Very important. You build on working relationship, which is related to trust. Okay. So you build trust. When you trust the person, it helps all of you to arrive at a win-win situation. Focus on the interest, not position, when you are negotiating. Always invent options for mutual gain. So when you are negotiating, one best negotiate benefit both of you. Okay, you don't have to look at your side alone, but always come out with an option that tends to favor all of you, and that you are likely to win the negotiation. Okay, always use an objective criteria to develop a fair standard and procedure for negotiation. So if you have to, for instance, you have to talk about measurement, use accurate measurement, use standard measurement. Don't use words like some, majority, many, and so on, but focus on objective criteria for negotiation. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of our lecture today. Any question? Any question so far?
No, sir.
Hello,
Okay.
sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Please, is it always that you have your class on Saturdays?
No, so I have this Saturday class is for evening group, but I have another class on Thursday, which is meant for morning.
Okay.
Morning. There is also another class for weekends tomorrow, but I don't take that class.
But
And
says, okay, you when you are done.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
you are the
really
one.
enjoyed the
class today. So you are the one that
yes, no, Thursday class in the afternoon. The morning one, they are not a lot, so they have been added to the afternoon one. So I take that afternoon class.
Okay. What time, please?
They like
is it two?
the new people who join. They like our lectures. Make sure you are